All right, guys, how's it going? So I have been out and bought the Spanish football dailies for you to see if there's anything really to do with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Real Madrid. And there is. We are going to be talking about that in a moment. A couple of things. I found another garage closer to my house that sells these newspapers, so I don't have to go as far now in the morning, because I fucking hate going for the papers, I'm going to be honest with you. It's a right drag. This one's near the cafe I go to, so it works perfectly for me. I didn't know they sold newspapers in there, but I do now. So, I only brought marker back, okay? And I know what you think. You think, oh, well, what's the others there? No, they're from yesterday. So they're just props, right? I did buy those editions today, but there's nothing really in there that I needed. There was a little bit about Red Bull, which I took a screenshot of, like a photograph, which I'll discuss at some point in this video. But I only needed this one. And I always feel bad, like, what's the point of bringing them home and throwing and putting them in a bin? Do you know what I mean? So I just left them for the owner of the cafe. Said, these are for the cafe. So he was delighted. But what I wanted to tell you, right, was I obviously know the bias, how these newspapers work. And I think if you pay attention to my videos, you know yourself now, if you didn't before. So I had marker under my arm, because obviously I needed that one to validate what I'm going to show to you or discuss in a minute. And I passed these over to him as I paid my bill. And he went, sport. And he went, Barcelona. Like that. And I was like, yeah, see. And then he went, AS. He went, Real Madrid. Turned his nose up a little bit. And then I went, yeah, and I was basically going to say Real Madrid was that. And he pointed at that one and he went, Florentino Perez. Right? And then he started going on one. And basically what he was saying was, that's, bias Barcelona, that's bias Real Madrid. Anyway, and that's just Florentino Perez. So, and then he basically writes it for you. And this is what I've said to you before, Real Madrid basically do tell this one what to write, okay? So I always want you to bear that in mind when anyone's ever quoting from these newspapers. So we go into page 4. I put a post out on social media this morning saying there is something, it's page 2, but it's actually page 4. I did correct it. So basically, the Real Madrid do not want to ruin relationships with Alexander-Arnold, respect Liverpool, etc. So what it says is Madrid doesn't want dirty play with Alexander-Arnold. That's the best translation you can get, really. And here they will respect the deadlines and Liverpool, all right? And just to validate, because someone said in the summer you've got to show us that you've got to validate so we know that what you're reading and all that. If you look at the top there, look, it says Sabado. All right, is that validated enough for you? So let's take a look at what this says. So a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you that the Liverpool Echo and the LFC clique of journalists, they want you to believe that Real Madrid have been discussing Trent forever, blah, blah, blah. The Echo put an article out saying it's ramping up in Spain now. At the time, it was not. That's what prompted me into buying the newspapers again for you. I was buying them every day throughout the summer, if you remember, because the window was open. And we had all the Zubimendi stuff, the Kubo stuff, Mamadashvili and all that. But then when the window closed, I stopped it. But I started buying them again so I could show you what's being printed in these newspapers. Because the online versions are often different, especially if they've got a website in English. It's usually always different. But the print media can be quite different to the online media. Now, it's so that I can show you what they're saying. And, sometimes I'll say, oh, there's this in marker. And someone will say, marker. And it's like, listen, I'm not telling you that this is true or false. You make your own decisions. But what I want you to do is bear in mind that if it comes from that, it's biased towards Real Madrid. If it comes from that about Luis Diaz, it's biased for Barcelona. And this one, of course, is biased to Real Madrid. And Real Madrid writes this one. So you have to decide, well, is it true? Is this a genuine link? Or is this, games before we play them and stuff like that? So the journalist in question is this Jose Felix Diaz. He was the one that did the front page the other day about Arnold. So let's get on with it. I'm going to tell you what it says in here. Basically, if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, it's just saying that they will not approach Trent until 1st of January if they do anything. Because they don't want to, ruin relations with Liverpool. I'm not sure I believe that they wouldn't indirectly approached through a third party or something. My cough is getting better, believe it or not, although it doesn't sound like it right now, does it? So, Madrid doesn't want dirty play with Alexander-Arnold. They will respect the deadlines on Liverpool. Until January 1st, they won't be free to negotiate with the player. The goal is a cordial operation. Many at Real Madrid want to see Alexander-Arnold at Valdebebas, that's like their training centre, right? To join the daily work, to contribute and add to the team led by Carlo Ancelotti, right? Just listen to that bit again, right? Many at Real Madrid, many within the club want to see Alexander-Arnold there. Better to do things right, especially when facing Liverpool, a club with which they have maintained a cordial relationship in recent years. Among the directors, the idea of strengthening a squad that demands and aspires to the highest at the end of the season has been instilled. They need to reinforce two positions, especially right back and centre back. The English fullback has been pushed to the limit by a contract renewal that hasn't arrived. The balance is in the player's favour. Liverpool know this and has done everything possible to reach an agreement and not let one of their key players, like Alexander-Arnold, leave. The most valued fullback in the market, according to the specialised website Transfer Market, which many of you will know about. And again, this journalist is the one that published the front page the other day about Trent, saying that Liverpool know he won't renew. Okay, just bear that in mind. This journalist, same publication. Contacts for the renewal have intensified in recent weeks, but without success, leading him to consider a premature goodbye to the English club. Although they, Liverpool, still hope... that doesn't make sense. It says, although they still hope that the European sub-champions will react in time and end up accepting what they call a renewal offer. I think that does mean Liverpool, doesn't it? Liverpool still hope that they will react in time. I think it's just the way it's been translated then. Time is running out. And while the moment of the final decision arrives, they also try to rush the option of getting some money for the departure of a player who was formed in the youth academy of the Anfield team. There's no point reading the next paragraph to you because it just talks about how Real Madrid know how pre-contracts work, how to get players on frees, how what players they've lost and things like that. So their experience, what the journalists are trying to say is Real Madrid, they know what they're doing, their experience with this, right? It is increasingly common for players to reach situations of freedom before the defence. Real Madrid has opted to watch from a distance and take the necessary steps as they did in the initial calculations. They know that urgency is not in their favour and Liverpool is also playing its cards, trying to renew and opening an immediate door to avoid failure. The pressure is on the English club, which sees a real possibility of an unexpected departure. The option of a renewal is still on the table, but always respecting the deadlines and the rules. Real Madrid will not negotiate with the player until they are protected by FIFA rules, not before January 1st. First of all, I ain't going to believe anything that's been said. Sorry, I'm not the tripod. What do you think of that? Do you know what I mean? Like, my first... Obviously, this is a biased Real Madrid. This is the Real Madrid mouthpiece, this particular newspaper. So you know that this is coming from Real Madrid, right? The mentality, what's behind the article, it's been mentioned again. What I found interesting from reading some of this was how do they know what Liverpool feel and what's happening at Liverpool? So that gives you, or it gives me, the impression that the Alexander-Arnold camp are actually feeding this to somebody. That's what I take from it, right? And the article is really, the basis of the article is, but Real Madrid won't do anything until, because they'll stay within the rules. It just sounds a little bit suspicious to me. Would you agree with that? I'm not going to read it again because maybe you do understand what I mean here. The key points from the article: Real Madrid don't want to do any dirty, they want a cordial operation. They don't want to be tapping him up, basically. But they seem to know a lot about what's going on at Liverpool and how do they know that Liverpool know that he's not going to renew? You know what I mean? Like Edwards or even Hughes. No, they're not going to ring up to say, just let you know. I don't think he's going to renew. So that ain't happening. So who can give Real Madrid that vibe? Unless the journalist is making it up. So I just want to throw those things to you. But to me, the article just sounds a little bit suspicious in the sense that it feels like the Trent camp are letting them know things, and Real Madrid are like, oh well, we won't be talking to him till the 1st of January. I mean, no one believes that in a million years, surely. It could, of course, be Trent Alexander-Arnold telling his pal Bellingham what's going on, and Bellingham is discussing it with him. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like there really is contact going on in one shape or another, one form or another. Sorry, my cough's got bad again all of a sudden for some reason. And Real Madrid are just trying to distance themselves, and they want to keep the cordial relationship, etc., etc. All right, so that was that. Now, is there anything else that I can give you? There was one small bit that I wanted to tell you about. There was quite a bit. There was an article in there about not as many goals being scored at this stage of the season in La Liga, and there was a reference to Real Sociedad, which is of course Martin Zubimendi's team, and Cubo. The team that has lost the most scoring, or the one that's doing the worst, is Real Sociedad, which has scored less than half the goals at this stage of the season that they had at the same stage last season. So I just thought I'd mention that to you because that echoes, doesn't it, that Real Sociedad are struggling. Now, there was a little bit about Red Bull in one of the other newspapers. Red Bull Drink and Sports Director, it says here. Red Bull continues to build its own sports empire. Its focus on motorsports and urban sports has historically been a strategy to reach young audiences where it concentrates its sales. However, there is no debate that Formula One and soccer allow it to continuously be part of social conversations and keep its brand resonating without the need for those entertaining TV commercials. Additionally, soccer gives it the advantage of building specific projects in major markets. I am, of course, mentioning this because of Jurgen Klopp's decision to go and work for Red Bull, right? Its first projects were in Austria and Germany with Salzburg and Leipzig, as these are its original markets. However, the international ambition has always been there with New York Red Bull, Bragantino in Brazil, and since this year, Leeds United in the United Kingdom and Paris FC in France. The difference with these last two? Here, the focus is not so much on using a club as a commercial platform, although that too, but on contributing its sports management knowledge. And recalling that commercial, Jurgen Klopp gives you wings. So they're obviously making reference to Jurgen there. I feel like my chair's sinking. Maybe I might have had a breakfast this morning. That's it. That's all I've got for you on the Spanish papers. Okay. So the main emphasis here is Trent Alexander-Arnold is in the newspapers again, is in the newspaper that Perez has great influence over. The message is that they won't make a move until the 1st of January if they do, because they don't want to ruin their relationship with Liverpool Football Club. You have to decide what to believe, all right? But I do feel that someone is feeding back information to Real Madrid. I think it'd be naive for us to not think that. But is it the player's agent or is it the relationship between Trent and Bellingham or whatever? But it's in the papers again. What's interesting, I think, is that if they're talking about the player from the 1st of January, that's obviously when he can negotiate a free transfer for the summer. The suggestions more recently have been that from this newspaper was that they could possibly enter the market in January, which would mean there would be a fee to pay, but they don't want to pay it. They want to save money. So until Trent Alexander-Arnold signs a contract with Liverpool, we're going to be subject to this for some time. And I did tell you that it would intensify in October. All right. So I'll leave that with you guys. If you appreciate the video, please give me a thumbs up. drop me a comment. And if you want to buy me a coffee, not a beer, because I'm on antibiotics, hit that super thanks button, the love heart under the video, and I'll give you a shout out tomorrow. I did my shout outs video earlier, but I did miss a couple of people off as well, so I'll take care of that tomorrow. Have a great weekend, guys. Oh, and I'll be live on here this afternoon. All right.